Hi, I am Linda Hayes, Director of the Council on Aging, for those of you who may not have watched before, but welcome again for our latest segment of Seniorities, our sixth, I think, along with J.D. Miller on my far right, our current COA Board Chairperson, and our staff guest today is Lisa Thornton, who is our Activities Coordinator for the Senior Center. She is here to talk with us about activities and programs that we hold at the Senior Center or through the Council on Aging. You know, we have had other programs where transportation and outreach have been covered and are essential services for us at the Senior Center. But activities and programs are where we generate interest for the Senior Center and in coming to the Senior Center, and often becoming part of our culture and the connection that we want to promote at the Senior Center. So it's where we hope individuals can find, activities, comfort, stimulation, and where others might have the same interests or needs as them, but also where they might find new interests. So, on that note, Lisa.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome.
Thank you for being here.
What, I guess maybe just to think about a place to start, what are some of the different types of activities or the range of activities that we try to offer?
Well, we have lots of fitness classes. Sometimes that's the first thing that someone participates in to get involved with the Senior Center, are some of the fitness classes. And those range from sport games to yoga classes to strength classes. We also offer what we call cafe talks. Often you'll find those on Wednesday mornings, and this gives us an opportunity to bring in an expert speaker to come in and talk on varying topics. It might be something fun and light and interesting. It might be something serious with more important information for a healthy life.
Right.
We also offer games like Mahjong, which is very popular, and Scrabble.
Yeah.
And we also offer things like recreational activities, like trail walking, which was a new group for us this spring, or pickleball, which has been going on for a while and is gaining in popularity. And if you're not familiar with that, that's a racket sport game that kind of combines badminton, tennis, and ping pong. And we get newcomers to this trying it for the first time pretty regularly. We also offer like daytime and evening social events where we get to bring in special guests. This past year we had the singing trooper come in, which was a big hit. But we also celebrate just our holidays on the schedule, like recently Mother's Day, our upcoming 4th of July, which will be on June 30th. And we also celebrated St. Patrick's Day with a nice big evening event here in Scituate. And we also offer and coordinate lots of trips for someone to just go out to a museum in Boston and not have to fight the traffic in the parking, or just a brief adventure in local surrounding towns. So it's kind of the range.
Yep.
So Lisa, how do you juggle all of this? Like week to week, month to month? How do you figure out where to plug things in?
Well, Linda and I kind of have a rough calendar. We worked with the hours that we have in the day. A lot of people like to get the bulk of their activities done from 9 to 3.
Right.
Right. Like a lot of us. So we kind of follow that structure. We also work around instructors' schedules,
okay.
What works for them, and we also take into account the people that are participating. People like fitness classes earlier in the day rather than late.
Yep.
But it's always, sometimes we throw things out there at a different day or time and see if it sticks, see if people like it, if it works for people.
And at this point, I will say, given that we have very limited space, often it isn't so much a matter of when would we like to do it, it's when can we do it.
Yeah.
And that is what happens, and sometimes it's like, we only have that spot in the afternoon at 1 o'clock, we can try that, or maybe we have a couple of choices, and then maybe the participants might help us make a decision, but scheduling it's ongoing.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking earlier today, it's sort of the chicken or the egg, right? It's, well, you said sometimes you throw things out there to get people to see.
Yep.
Well, so do we put out a yoga class, or do we wait until enough people come to us and say, I want to do a yoga class?
It depends. It's both.
So,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. Sometimes we put it out and see if people are interested.
Yep.
So, you know, sometimes you kind of see it and say, oh, that looks interesting.
Yeah.
And you get people, or we had the trail walking. I had a member of the senior center, and she's kind of an expert trail walker. She knows the area, she knows all the surrounding towns, and she said, you know, I'd like to give this a try.
Which is great,
You know, so.
especially in certain months,
Yeah.
like now.
Yep.
That's great.
And that is an example, and a great example, and there are several, or at least more than a few at this point, where a volunteer has offered to do something for us, and, you know, not necessarily knowing what the reception would be for that. We've tried it, and in fact, one of them, you might talk about, the staff sat in just so we could get an idea of what it was like. And then we could sort of help promote it and tell people when they asked us what it would be, and it has become one of the more popular.
I think we were going to get to that. It's
I know.
a writing class.
Right.
And I was just going to comment that the first time we offered it, we had some, like a low level of interest. And then I think we described the class slightly differently when we better understood the
Right.
class. And then we had a lot of people calling because it seemed more interesting
Right.
because we described it
Right.
better, I guess.
And then there's word of mouth.
And then
once.
people, one person, you know,
Right.
3 people come or 5 people come and they tell their friends and they bring their friends and all of a sudden you've got 12 or 15 people wanting to come in, so.
And that's really the whole thing about
Yeah.
getting people in the door for something.
Right.
Sometimes it's just getting them in and having them talk to someone who's also enjoying an activity, and next thing you know, we have a new patron, which is great. But, so there is a wide range of interests, needless to say, that we are trying to accommodate and meet different needs for different cohorts of the senior population. From a numbers standpoint, I guess, also in terms of participation, really, what would you say are a few of the most popular or well-attended
Or even
activities?
just the categories. Are more
Yeah.
people doing fitness than cafe talks?
Well, yes, I mean, I would say yes. We offer way more fitness classes
okay.
on the schedule than we do cafe talks.
Yeah, right.
So just right there, you're getting numbers on a daily basis that you're not getting at a cafe
Right,
talk.
gotcha.
And we do have great instructors. They're worthwhile exercise classes. Some of them are, you know, really made to order for our population. You know, the gentle yoga or the chair yoga. A few of the others that we have added recently, which are really geared towards, we know that they are interested in those. And they may not belong to a health club or.
I was going to say that it's a big benefit to
Yeah,
not
it is.
have to drive
It is,
over
yeah,
to another
yeah.
health club. I don't want to take any business away from a health club,
No,
but
no.
Well,
to
sometimes
be
it's
able to
just-
get that kind of exercise.
Sometimes the health club is the right atmosphere for everybody.
Right.
Sometimes I use a health club, and over the years it's been different. Sometimes I work out with friends. Sometimes I do something on my own. So I think this gives people in the town a different option.
Yep.
And ours are, you know, they're the group classes, so really, I prefer those even myself, as you said, I would rather, instead of the elliptical machine, I would rather go to a group class and get a little bit of my, you know, my,
People stick with group classes.
Yeah, they do. It's been proven.
Okay.
I also was going to say, as far as, you know, kind of the range of how do we juggle it, what do we offer, I was thinking about it, and I have a college freshman, just finished her first year, my oldest daughter, and so I kind of think of it like college. Like this is like the senior university. Because when I went to visit her when she first got started, a lot of the conversation was, well, what are you doing? What are you getting involved in? Who did you meet? Who are your friends?
Right.
And I found that she was, you know, going to classes. She was starting a new fitness class. She met a new person, and they started playing pickup soccer. She
Right.
got involved in clubs to meet people.
Right.
She did a drama class, and I thought, well, that's what we do.
Yeah, yeah.
We do.
That's what we do. We kind of a
Yeah.
range of learning
Yeah.
to engagement, and I just think it doesn't matter what age you're at. You just need to stay engaged and connected and try and be willing to try new things.
Different ideas, different people, trying different things, absolutely, yeah.
And as soon as someone does hear someone else say, oh, this is great.
Right.
You know, we
Yeah.
will get a call, well, someone told me that this was good, you know, what can you tell me about it, or when can I come, or does it, you know, what does it cost, and just asking for the details. Because as soon as someone has told them that, they want to try it.
Yeah, good. Awesome.
So, which is, that always feels good for us, knowing that, you know,
Yeah.
we've done something that
Positive
people
feedback, yeah.
enjoy, and
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
kind of helps us, you know, go in the next direction. You know, maybe we need something else like this. Like one of our fitness classes has been really popular, and we have to figure out, well, do we have the space to add it?
To do another one.
Another
Right,
session.
right,
Because
right.
it's.
We actually
it's-
were asked, yes, so it's already meeting twice, and that was a newer one, so I would say it's
populated
become one of our
for
most
2
popular.
classes?
Yeah.
Comprehensive, oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. So we need to-
That is the balance for
life.
life, which was first developed thanks to a grant, but luckily we had just the right instructor to help us adapt what we were given. A physical therapist had developed it initially for us through the grant, but she's fabulous. They love her, and it just continually grows. So we do get calls, when can you add a third one? So
I've received, just to kudos to our instructor, I've received thank you notes from participants
Yeah, yeah.
saying she's a fabulous instructor and they love going.
It makes a difference.
Yeah, you know, she's very youthful, she's energetic, she's knowledgeable, she's upbeat.
Just caring.
She's very, and she even comes in to the office and says, I just love like going to teach my class.
Yeah, she does, she does, and they
I
all
love
do, they all
this group.
do.
We're like a family.
She just, yeah.
So it's
Her exuberance
So
is
it's a
not
win-win all the way
contained.
around, yeah,
Yeah.
for the teacher, for
yeah.
the center, and.
That's
Yeah.
Sue.
The pretend-
That's Sue. Yes, thank you, Sue.
But back to maybe the most well-attended, I guess, if you wanted to
Okay.
talk a little about, maybe we did do that, but
Yep.
just
the
for people
balance
to
for
know.
life. Pickleball, like you mentioned in the beginning, has become very
Which
popular.
has grown over three years now. And a lot has been word of mouth, absolutely word of mouth. Friends telling friends, wanting them to get involved, or maybe knowing others who've done it in Florida. I had said even before we started that, it was sweeping the nation, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and now it's sweeping Scituate. It really is.
I was
So
going to say,
Yeah.
in a
We-
previous episode, you had mentioned, you got a call from somebody who was up visiting from Florida, and he said,
Right.
do you
Right.
guys offer pickleball?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
think-
So I think we have been fielding of late up to 28 participants in 4 courts. Now, only 16 can play at one time, but it's actually, I think, a little helpful for them. They don't mind taking the break,
To
playing
rotate
for
it,
1 or
yeah.
2 or
Yeah.
3 games, depending on whether they win or not. So there's had to have been a procedure established that just keeps it, going and efficient, and doesn't keep too many, and we've also had to sort of separate the courts into some advanced play for others who have played longer or more often, or may have come from Florida with some other experience, and then always wanted to make sure that we could keep inviting beginners who are just learning, and the volunteers, it's volunteer-led for the most part, and they are happy to help instruct as when there is a new person that comes in. So it's great.
Cool.
I've also found the same situation with Mahjong,
Right, yes.
where it gained in popularity. We might have, 24 people playing at any one time, and we have people that are more experienced, and they have a table of 4. But we also have a facilitator that, and newer students that will help someone come in and start playing, so they're not feeling intimidated. Oh, I can't start because I don't know how. There's always a group of people that they're all at different levels that can teach you
Right.
and work with you and get you up to
Right.
speed.
Now everybody can help. That
Yeah.
is great. That's the activity. I said, they keep trying to come in earlier, and they keep staying later.
Later,
So
I was gonna say. I've seen, everyone else is trying to get the heck out of the building, and that table
that
won't leave
won't
until
leave.
they're done.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right, which
Yep.
is okay. And then I heard recently they're playing somewhere at night, so that's funny. That is just, I don't know what keeps them going. Good to know. And people who came in for that game, I believe, had not been in the building before. You know, what I mean, that was something that drew them in and has really sparked some interest for other things we might do. So that's
Good.
where we might get people to a cafe talk that wouldn't otherwise have come, but they are
Sure.
talking in a group for 2 or 3 hours, and they know more about what we do at the senior center because of it.
Got it, Yeah.
So that is what we hope for.
It is nice to hear when someone says, I've never been in here, and then, I didn't know you did that. Because I
So
think
true.
some, or we've even had people pop in for a special class that maybe go to Marshfield
True.
or another town, and
Yes.
and they'll say, wow, you offer the same thing. You know, with some of our challenges, we still offer a lot of the same programs that you'll find in the surrounding towns.
Sure.
It's a little trickier
Yeah.
for us
Sure.
to navigate and plan and
Right,
schedule.
logistics. Right.
Yeah, make it, you know, it's more challenging,
Yeah.
more time consuming to deal with that, but a lot of the things are, that we're copying them, they're copying us in other towns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the greatest form of flattery,
Yeah.
so keep doing it.
Well, so along those lines, before you move on, how do people find the posted schedule?
Okay, well,
Like, I'm
Here's-
guessing occasionally, maybe once a week, maybe less than that, in the Mariner and the newsletter.
Yes.
we try to have it in the Mariner weekly.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
so
we'll highlight some upcoming.
updated it in the Mariner, if
Yeah.
anybody gets the Mariner, and
Yeah.
otherwise it's in the newsletter.
But the newsletter, which does come out twice, not twice, every other month, so every 2 months, the newsletter comes out, so we do have to schedule that far in advance.
And if you're not on the list, you could come down to the senior center and pick one up, and/or put your
Yes.
name on the mailing list, right?
Yep, we can just add you to the
Just
mailing
please
list.
call, yes, and be added to the mailing list, that is all it takes.
The other thing, the other way you can get it is, I like it this way with, I get some newsletters from other towns, because we like to see what's going on in other places, is you can see on the back of the newsletter, there's a way to sign up, and it can be automatically come into your
Yes.
inbox,
Yep.
in your email, so you don't
Yep.
even have to go find out when it's being published and when it's available
Right.
online at the town website. You can just have it come in, and it'll just come in every other month.
Because it is printed by a third party, and they post it immediately. As soon as it's printed, even before we receive it to put it out in
Yeah.
the mail, it's online.
Okay, so Lisa, you just mentioned one, is it on the town website?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
yes.
So it gets posted in its entirety on the town website.
Okay.
And also, Jill at the senior center does generally put the calendar, which is a centerfold,
Yep.
in the newsletter.
Yep.
So this could hang on your refrigerator, or it is on the town website as well, on the Council on Aging page, under departments. And then oftentimes, we will mention special events or other special activities that may not have been in there.
Yeah,
I'd also like to mention that if you are participating in some of our programs, you might have received a call over the years of either a reminder of something
Hopefully.
coming up or
Yeah.
a change to something that we have going on. So we like to have people sign in, make sure we have their name and phone number, even their email address, so that we can communicate. If you've been involved in a program and you like it, then you'll always hear updates to that program.
Oh, that's
through
great.
a broadcast call that will come
Yeah.
to your, either your cell phone or your home number,
Yeah.
whichever one you want.
Yeah.
And we don't send out a lot of calls, but I think enough to keep people in the loop on any changes to the program.
And they
That's
are
good.
welcome to
That-
call and ask us to, if they don't want to be on, but for the most part, everybody appreciates it.
yeah,
and
that's a
they-
proactive
It is.
outbound communication to get
Right.
people updated, which is great.
And the calls can be to a large group of people, or they can just target just the people that participate in yoga. So that's why it's good to know that you like the yoga classes, and to let us know. Yeah.
We create those lists either based on the attendance in certain classes or events, or we can create the list because we know someone is interested and make a group out of that particular list. So, it is not just generated by the system. You know, I mean, we do have something to do with creating that list. So if anybody does want to get on a list, they should tell us.
Absolutely.
That way we make the call to them.
Make a phone call,
Because
stop
otherwise we
by,
can't
drop
guarantee.
off an email address, and get
Right.
registered, right?
Right, absolutely. Did you want to talk about a couple of maybe highlight a couple of programs or things that we have done or are doing?
So, I think we were talking, one of my favorite programs is the Aging Mastery Program. We've been offering it in the fall for the last 2 years. It's a 10 to 12 week program which provides a wide variety of important information presented by expert speakers every week. So it's held weekly, and we have a different speaker on a different topic every single week. We tackle critical topics for healthy living and aging, and the group is about 20 to 30 participants that come. And we've found over the last 2 falls that we've offered it, the group really bonds. We have a graduation celebration at the end that usually falls shortly after Thanksgiving. And I think initially, I know, Linda, you often say at our first meeting in September, you guys probably are thinking, this is going to kill me, this 10 weeks coming every week. And what we tell everyone is you'll find that you'll look forward to it. And oddly enough, that's exactly what happens. People look forward to the class. There's always something interesting that we talk about and present.
It has become something they look forward to, like any activity, really. If you were coming from Mahjong, you wouldn't want to miss a week. So it has become that for them. And then it does end. So we're looking for ways even for that not to end, I suppose, by maybe adding on with some other.
Well, and this is on the schedule for this September again,
It
right?
is, yep.
Yes.
September 21st, I think we had determined it would start for 10 weeks.
And we can only accommodate, probably 30 participants at the most. So we do need to take signups for that in August and early September, because, and then it fills up, and then we can't take any more. So if you're interested, definitely call back.
Again, come, give a call, right?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. And I think we already talked about the expressive writing class, which was one of my favorite classes, because it was kind of it kind of snuck in under the radar. We really weren't sure what it was, and the staff participated in some of the weeks, and it was really a really fun class, thoughtful class, very engaging.
Oh, very, absolutely. But funny enough, I think we had to come up with a name for it. The volunteer who came in and offered to do this described it, but maybe didn't have a name. And we had to come up, and so that was an expressive writing, but, it wasn't like creative writing necessarily. We really had to distinguish it from other types of things that they might do or want to do. So that's what took a while too. But we came up expressive writing because it is a sharing for the most part, but it does, I think, invite all the participants to kind of be individual. And it's volunteer-led, and they love that volunteer is just wonderful to have as well.
So what are some new programs that are coming on or on the horizon, if any? You mentioned the trail walking, which I think just started
That was new
a month or so ago?
That was new this spring.
Yeah.
Yep, we started the trail walking. We have one of our participants from our knitting class has been wanting to get a quilting group started. So hopefully we're going to publish in the newsletter that we'd like to start this group in the fall, and hopefully we'll get some people call in saying their interest, and we'll have a planning meeting and figure out, is this a morning thing, an afternoon
how to do
thing?
this.
The planning meeting.
Yeah, that's how we did the trail walking. What's a good time of day? What's a good day of the week? What seems to fit with most people's interests?
Yeah.
And and it's been actually, and it was funny. I didn't expect it in the planning meeting. It seems like unanimously everyone said, "Yeah, around lunchtime on Fridays would be great," and everyone
That
agreed.
never happens.
So you can't, sometimes from our end, you can't pick that without really knowing, your clientele and knowing, where they're at in their day.
Yep.
And it's a great break, I think, in the middle of the day. And it's cool. And right now in the spring, it's a great time of day. People have asked me, are we going to switch the time based on it being warmer at midday?
Right.
But because of the canopies, usually in the trail walking,
You at least
sometimes
get a little shade,
you get some
right?
shade.
Yep.
And
Actually, I think they sort of like the afternoon where they're not having to get up, right away and be ready and out the door to walk, although many people do that. I think they like the leisureliness of the Friday
Yeah, so
afternoon.
maybe in the heat of the summer, you drop it to 11 o'clock.
I think, as people have kind of a lot of people have routines in the morning.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
they
yeah,
like
yeah,
to
yeah. Oh, yeah,
kind of
yeah.
do their routine, and then maybe midday is flexible, meet someone for lunch, do something different, before their afternoon. So I think it's worked really well.
So I guess in terms of new things, do we, or do you more get special requests for activities that we then want to try to implement if we can?
We do, and typically, I think it starts with maybe doing a little research about the request, maybe go online, and then, like I said, do a planning meeting. And we'll, the goal is always to get it in the calendar somewhere at some time of the year that seems suitable, and see if it interests people.
Right.
So I can't really think, was it origami? I had someone say they'd love to see an origami class. So it's finding someone that is good at folding papers.
I have, have
So if
requests,
anyone,
yeah.
I would like to start a class.
That's
Right.
but if there's anybody in the
Right.
audience
Yes, yeah,
that has an idea of something that they either think would be appropriate or that they want to
They have a skill
Sort
they
of
would like to
take-
share,
take-
absolutely,
Yep.
take leadership role on.
absolutely. Well, that is how-
Contact
we
you,
would
right?
like to do more. Now, we have had this ongoing, what we would dub lifelong learning with Bob Jackman as the instructor, who has continuously come up with local history topics for the most part. Some eco stuff, which has also been well received. And then we did bring in a classical music instructor who was awesome as well. And we would love to expand on that, but often we need those people, professionals who may be retiring and want to continue to
Right.
share, or maybe have a hobby that they could share with us. We try to do them over a 6-week period, once a week, and keep it to a nominal fee, but really that would be, the instructor at least gets
Yeah.
a little pay for their time, and that
Yeah.
would be something we'd like to really expand
Yeah.
on.
No, I'm sitting here spinning, around an investment club, a travel club.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had a recent request for a discussion group.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's a great idea. Finding the right person to
Yes.
facilitate a group like that kind of has some broad knowledge.
Right.
Maybe would have gone on a Jeopardy show and answered lots of questions, or is really good
Right.
at, was it Trivial Pursuit back in the day? If you always won Trivial Pursuit,
Right,
right? And you have an open mind about thinking about topics and allowing conversation to happen, because you don't want a discussion group to get too divisive or
Right.
anything. So sometimes we kind of have to brainstorm
We do.
and be
I
out
mean,
talking in our own personal lives,
Right.
and something will come.
The truth is,
within
we always
conversation.
have ideas. It's whether it's
Which
time to bring those
right,
ideas,
right.
or.
Which ideas can we
could-
make happen, or
Right.
that there's a demand for.
And also, will we have a facilitator or instructor
Yeah.
or leader?
Yeah.
So.
We do actually have someone that comes in every other month and to talk investing.
We do,
Okay.
yep.
and finance.
So we have tried
Um,
that, yep. Yep.
I think she's gotten some small. It's a small group.
But anyone who does need that information it is a good place. It is, and she's a good resource. So it's a big job. I mean, we are always trying to fill new needs, unmet needs, requests, and Lisa does a fantastic job, and it's part-time for her, and it's it's easily a full-time job.
Yes.
And she also has 2 jobs, so she is also a volunteer coordinator, so so she does. We'll talk about that another episode here, but, so needless to say, there's a lot to fit in. So nicely enough, we do try to work in tandem, when we are planning for things, which is great. But she's come up with some great new things always.
So is there anything that changes over the summer months versus fall? Besides the hours?
Oh yeah.
Thank you for that reminder. Our hours are shifting, I guess I should say, to open the doors at 8 a.m. at the Senior Center, Monday through Friday, and closing at 4. Monday through Thursday, we close at 3 on Fridays. But just because we did have something starting earlier, and we just need to have someone on site to do that, and it just seemed like it would be nice for the summer to give that a try.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Summertime.
So we'll revisit that in September and see if it's gone over well, or if we should go back to our former hours. And then some of the scheduling has changed. I could let Lisa talk about, yes, our transition. We've had to
Okay,
transition
yep.
recently.
Yeah, we've moved some of our classes out of St. Luke's, where we've had some off-site fitness classes, and they're in the Scituate Harbor Community Building on Jericho Road, where the temporary library just moved out of. So that's been the forefront on our
yes.
coordinating and planning right now, and getting people settled in there and communicating the time changes and location changes. We've got a full schedule indicating where all our fitness classes are being held, so you can stop into the senior center and get a nice printout
The hardest part is for us to remember to open the building.
Yeah.
So they are trying to make
community
that,
building.
the community building.
Yeah.
They're trying to make that easier for us.
Yeah.
So, but we've,
But they
Yeah.
appreciate the view, and, it's open space right now inside.
You guys are juggling two buildings,
buildings.
an expanding empire.
Pickleball also has to change, and that's still a little bit in flux, but it's been happening at Jenkins School during the school year. But then that's taken over, so we need to move. We actually are getting the high school gym for at least one day a week, or afternoon, I should say, at 3:30. And then hoping to have another second day for them
Summertime
also at the high school.
Summertime only? or-
Summertime only.
Okay.
Right, we just have to shift
Yep.
to what's open,
Yep.
frankly. And also, in terms of pickleball, they need the lines that delineate the courts.
Right.
They are smaller than a tennis court, or can be played on any gymnasium floor as long as they're drawn out. So we need either the high school or Jenkins are the two gyms that have that.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot of choice,
Yeah,
until we can paint more lines.
yeah. Okay.
So, and then I guess we could talk about some upcoming things before we close, just to let people know, since we have your attention. We do have our 4th of July or Independence Day luncheon scheduled for June 30th, which is a Friday coming up soon.
the signups are
Well,
coming in
2
for
weeks.
that.
2
Yep.
weeks from now.
2 weeks, I
Yep.
guess,
Well,
already.
2 weeks from
I guess
today.
it is summer.
Yeah.
Yep, well, this is probably our third year that I've been involved
yep.
with planning it.
think it is.
And big treat was, we brought it, Nona's Ice Cream Truck comes to
Yeah.
visit us after we eat lunch. So I think I secured that about 4 or 5 months ago.
Just to make sure.
To make sure, because I think people would have been really disappointed if we didn't get Nona's to come in. We love that. We'll have some nice Tennessee barbecue, pulled pork and watermelon and your classics and mac and cheese. And we're crossing our fingers for some good weather.
Yeah.
Weather.
Hopefully most of this rain's
Yeah, we
behind
lucked
us.
out last week.
Because we've been able to
Last
sit
year.
outside and just have a little fun, play some music.
Also at Right, our favorite DJ,
Yep.
also. He has cover.
We've had some dancing in the parking lot.
Okay.
Right.
Awesome.
Just a little. We'd probably get more
dance
people if we
floor.
had a dance floor, right?
Right, right.
We do have to work on that.
Also,
So that's June 30th.
June 30th.
at 12 o'clock.
Okay.
So
Which
call,
is
call and sign up just
the
so we can make sure we have enough food.
the Friday before July 4th, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I think might be worth mentioning, we have some great cafe talks coming up also in July, into August, and even now into September. We scheduled one recently. But what's happening next week, or it would be Wednesday, the 21st, isn't it? That we have someone coming in.
Chris LaPlante from the Mass EDP. Yeah,
Right.
for the hearing. We had a fabulous presentation a few weeks ago by Jonathan Odell, who spoke about hearing loss and hearing aids and just surgical procedures and closed captioning. We covered just a wide range of topics. And
I don't
know
think
what?
we've ever had as much feedback about how wonderful a program.
It's a huge issue because
It
it
is.
isolates people.
yeah.
If they can't hear, they can't have a conversation in a restaurant, they can't
Yeah, it's a big
have a
challenge.
conversation around a luncheon table,
Yeah.
they're isolated. And
Yeah.
so hearing loss is huge.
It was so gratifying for the participants to hear this man understand so
Yeah.
much of what they go through, and also offer suggestions for,
And he's lived with it
devices.
his whole life,
Yes.
so there's just a lot of, understanding
Mm-hmm.
and compassion, and, I live this, I know what you're
Right.
going through,
Right.
and he's like the expert in the field. So we
That's
were lucky
great.
to get him to come to Scituate. He brought a coworker with him, and they had a whole setup for
in the
closed,
cart.
with the closed captioning, so everything was on screen as well. And talked about how that service is available for meetings and things, for,
Right, so part 2 for that is this coming Wednesday, the 21st, with someone coming with the phones.
Yep.
And maybe other devices that he might have available, I'm not sure.
yep.
That's great.
And then hopefully we'll get
It's a
them.
free
Huge-
program.
it's a huge-
Even if
Yeah, right.
you've got even minor hearing loss, and,
Right.
you've been seeing a doctor and you qualify, instead of just going to buy a phone at the store, you can go through this program, and if you qualify, it's pretty easy to get a free phone, and he'll have some samples, and he'll talk about how you can go about doing that.
That's terrific.
And we have heard, especially from the people that had come and were so appreciative of this information, that others then that they told were sorry that they didn't come. So I can only encourage everyone just really to read the newsletter, because we do have everything that we can schedule for 2 months in there, and hopefully with enough description to give you enough information so you know it might be something to hear. Or call us if you have a
Right,
question.
if you have something, you want more information on call.
Yeah.
Because though we will, of course, try to get him to come back, and hopefully may have him at the health fair, you know, it's great if they have that audience the first time
Right.
and then want to come back as well.
Because for this particular speaker and some of the others as well, he's the only one really for the state right now. There are limited resources, so to get him again is difficult.
Right, because he's being stretched all
Right, we
over.
have
So,
him
yeah.
scheduled 3 months out.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I think we didn't really talk about briefly, I think, how important it is to know who's coming in for programs
Right.
and what they're interested in,
Right.
and people signing up so we can plan, because his time is really
Right.
valuable.
That's great, that's a great resource.
Yeah, it is nice to be able to convey to the speaker that we have so many people coming, so that they realize that it is
Sure.
something that will be well received.
Sure.
Sometimes it's food related, but we do love the calls to let us know that people are going to come to an event. That does help us, for sure. So we are planning a lobster lunch for the beginning of August to sort of kick off or precede the Heritage Days weekend. So that will be in the newsletter. And an art and craft show, fine art, for some of our painters who regularly paint with Joanne Papandrea at the Senior Center twice a week. Goes to once a week in the summer. But she is going to help us collect an exhibit and offer that, and we will include some crafters as well, we think, so something to look for. Anything else before we?
Next, volunteer?
We have the Volunteer Appreciation Celebration coming up. We sent out invitations a few weeks ago, and we'll be holding that at the Maritime Center just on Tuesday, on June 20th. Riva will be catering a delicious Italian meal for us. All the staff will be kind of on board to do
And
some work.
if you haven't been in the Maritime Center,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Looking
Yeah.
back out over the harbor.
Yeah, yep, so
Great.
if you've
All
been
kinds of
if
weather.
you've been one of our volunteers over the last year, we hope you're coming. We've been getting some calls in and RSVPs, and it should be a fun night. It's actually, typically, we've offered it as a lunch event. We decided to try something different. It's 4 to 6. So we're gonna have some non-alcoholic fruit juice sangria
Okay.
to kick off the evening.
Yep.
And some great food, and some music.
It'll taste just like the real thing.
There you go. Good.
Well, at least you
Okay.
can get hydrated if you'd like to have the real thing when you get home before you go to bed. So that should be fun.
Okay.
And then there was, we do have a cafe talk coming up this summer, so you'll have to check the newsletter. One of our band instructors here for the schools, Greg Lassard, is, people don't know, is also a photographer, and he has come for the last 2 summers.
He has, and he is
And
so
he's-
well worth seeing.
Yep.
Amazing.
Right, he is the middle school band instructor, am I correct about that?
Yes.
I think in elementary as well.
Maybe
or-
elementary,
or-
but I know middle school, Gates.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And
Yeah,
or he was elementary, because he was the instructor for some of my kids when they were at the elementary. I think he's been doing the middle school.
mine too, at middle school, so.
Yep. And I
Beautiful.
didn't,
Been a while.
I accidentally, and this is kind of, you asked about how do we get programs, and I was unaware of his photography hobby and talents, and I stumbled across him in a local South Shore Living article. And so I gave him a call.
We do cold call, yes,
Oh, there
we
he
do.
is. There he is on the screen over there.
Oh, there.
And asked him, he said he could try and
perfect
squeeze it,
timing.
very busy in the summertime, even though he's not teaching, so he squeezed us in, and everyone said, please have him back, which we did the following year, and he's stepped up to come back this summer.
We would
so-
love more people
So I
to
don't
come.
know the exact date, but
Okay.
it'll be in the newsletter.
Great.
So
So
lastly.
get signed up for the
Yeah,
newsletter.
Yeah.
We need to close out, and thank you, of course, for tuning in again to hear from us. I should mention, if anyone is interested, there is one open seat for our Council on Aging Board of Directors, and that is done through the Board of Selectmen, but there is an application online, or anyone can phone me, and I can email it to you or print it out. And that is something that they do in June, so that we can have someone join the board in July. And lastly, many are interested in the status of the feasibility study, which will be presented to the Board of Selectmen, and then following that, we will be planning some public forums. So that is pending and soon to be public information. So that's something I guess we can be glad is on its way. So call with any questions you might have for the Senior Center. Our phone number is 781-545-8722. Any one of us could answer the phone, but we're happy to have you. And thank you so much,
Okay.
Lisa. Again, it's great. She's done a great job. Great to have her. And
Thank you for
thank
coming, yeah.
And I just had one last thing.
Okay.
that I was going to say. One, we forgot to mention about Facebook, our Facebook page. We do have a Facebook page. We've been posting. We try to post every week on either something coming up or something that has happened. So like us on Facebook.
Scituate Council on Aging.
So we'd love to get more people, because it's a great way
Sure,
to
it's a good
communicate
way to
information.
communicate, yep.
If you don't have a Facebook page or you don't know how to set one up for yourself, come in. We've got computers, we can help you do that. And just thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. And it's nice to be able to reach out to the community about the Senior Center, what we have going on. We have great people coming in, and we'd love to meet you.
Right.
So come in and say hi.
Thanks for all you
you.
do.